spotlight with Trent and Lent.
In the spotlight with Trent and Lent.
In the spotlight with Trent and Lent.
In the spotlight with Trent and Lent. In the spotlight with Trent and Lent.
In the spotlight with Trent and Lent. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I think it's safe to say the year 2020 has been a tough and trying year thus far. In light of COVID-19, people were getting sick and some sadly dying. As a community, we were made to stay in our homes on lockdown and learning to adjust to what would be a new normal lifestyle. We have watched businesses close down, people losing their jobs and still waiting for unemployment. For some, it hasn't been all bad, and they would be the lucky few, which I partially consider myself to be. It's unfortunate to say, though, something has remained the same in this world: hate. The hate that I'm speaking of today is that of skin color, in particular, brown skin color. It comes as no surprise that Black people have been the focus of hate for decades. Black people have been considered inferior and second-rate from the moment we were brought to this country, and even after the civil rights movements, things somehow seem to have done a 360-degree turn. The past few days and weeks seems as if I went back into the 1960s. Police killing unarmed Black men and women, now even just regular Joe white man and his son killing unarmed Black men.
Fortunately, it's not the 1960s. As much as I hate to say this, we are fortunate to be in this pandemic. We have seen this type of treatment to Black people for many decades now. We thought for sure when Rodney King was seen being beaten by cops in the streets that justice would be served. I mean, how couldn't it be? Everyone saw it, right? Wrong. We thought the same thing with Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, and Philando Castile, just to name a few. Even after a professional NFL quarterback took a knee to shine light on this already known and well-documented problem here in America, there was still no recourse. So now here we are in 2020, and it happens again to George Floyd. This death is different. This time the whole country took notice and took a stand. The whole world did, as a matter of fact. Why now? Why couldn't they see it all the other times? I say thanks to people being made to stay in their homes on lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic, people are finally being forced to look. They are no longer too busy with work and trying to balance their lives. It took such an unfortunate global event to finally open the eyes of so many who once could turn away blindly and sweep it under the rug. That's why we are here today, to talk about the change that needs to happen in this country. It's time, and we're past due. We'll be right back.
Joining us today, we have Winton Butler Jr., Wesley Butler, Lonnie and Jason De Jesus Cruz, and Jesse Blanco. So you all know why you're here today. What's been going on in America right now is crazy, you know, and with today's Black men or Black people in general. So we just wanted to speak on that a little bit. And the main topic is about change in the environment. So that's what we want to question you guys about, like change. Do we want change? Do we see change? How can we get change?
And what change do I want to see? I want to see that the people, not just cops, but anyone who's killing unarmed Black men, innocent Black men who are just minding their own business, I want to see them indictments brought against them, and not just indictments because that's not enough, but I want to see them guilty. I want to see them go in front of the trial jury and be found guilty. Mm-hmm. That's what all this protesting, talks, everything, that's the change I want to see. That's the number one change I want to see out of it all.
What about you, Wes? What do you think?
Well, I like to say too, rest in peace to George Floyd, and rest in peace to everybody who has gotten killed over senseless violence from police or police brutality. What I want to see changed is I want to see police officers get convicted for killing innocent Black men, and not just convicted to the fullest extent of the law. You know, they shouldn't get no pass. Just because they have a badge doesn't mean they should get a break or a pass for killing somebody innocent. It should not be that way.
All right, Jesse, let's hear your comments about that.
First thing I'd like to see, I mean, the young guys, they hit it out the park. You know, let's say rest in peace, not only to the ones that are victims of police violence, but I mean, just throughout the hundreds and hundreds of years of just senseless violence against us because of whether it's fear, whether it's intimidation, whatever the case may be. But the first thing that really, really needs to happen is everybody needs to understand that and admit that the race isn't fair, that we've been oppressed. I hear people all the time say, "Oh, that was slavery. That was 400 years ago. Why are you, thinking about that?" And I'm like, why do you still have the same perception of me from 400 years ago? I haven't let that go yet. So once we can admit that, hey, look, there's been an oppression, then we can have a flat bottom to grow from. Because until they admit that there's that, it's going to be all this back and forth. It's never going to end itself. So once that starts to happen, then we have a flat ground to work with.
Okay. Lonnie, Jason.
I'm gonna let Lonnie go first because I let ladies go first. So go ahead.
I completely agree with both of you. I think maybe the only thing that I look at is that it shouldn't take protesting and people being upset over it for those convictions to even take place, that it should be an automatic thing. Those police officers should be held to a higher standard than any of us. And it shouldn't take for protesting for them to be held accountable for what they're doing.
Jason?
Okay, me?
Yeah.
All right. I might get choked up over this.
And I would be the one.
Nah. The thing is what I think it starts from the top. Okay? I think this president's a fucking moron, excuse my language, but he's a fucking moron. Okay? First of all. Second of all, I think the judicial system is where it's all fucked up. The reality of it is when you see a president sit there and build a wall around the White House, it upsets me. And I'm going to tell you why. You got different countries. They're not laughing at us. They're protesting with us about what's going on in America. Okay? We're in 2020. 2020, and we're still dealing with racism. What I want to see change, I think everybody in this United States of America need to get this man out of the White House at all costs. I think he needs to go. Bottom line. He's a reality TV show person. His temperament is not what we need. I have a daughter that's half black and half white. This shit gotta stop, bro. That's the bottom line.
What I hear you saying, the type of change you're looking for is the head of government needs to take the accountability for it. Is that what you're saying? Like, we need better top leadership?
And I think yes. And I also think that it should trickle down into the Congress and into the state.
The next question is, you talk about change. How do we make change take place? What's the steps to get those changes done?
So in my opinion, the first step towards creating that change where we hold these police officers accountable is by voting. We need to look at who our district attorneys are, who our attorney generals are, and see, do they align with your standards? Do they align with what you believe? And if that's not the case, then you need to find someone else to vote for and vote them out.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna back what my brother just said, and I would just add, we need strength in numbers. So that means kids in my generation who turn 18, you need to get your voter registration. We need your numbers, and it's your right to vote once you turn 18. Mm-hmm. We need you. So I would just say that.
But also I want to say that a bunch of the past killings have gone to jury trials, and they've been found either the jury didn't bring indictments on the officers, or they went to the trial juries and they were found not guilty. First, we got to look at how these juries are being chosen. And if you understand just the requirements to be a part of the jury, the people who share our same sentiment and who look like us can't be in those rooms. Just one that stands out to me is the fact that if you were convicted of a crime that was, I think, longer than up to a year of imprisonment, you can't serve on the jury. Mm-hmm. So, as the most mass incarcerated race in the world, there goes most of our population.
Yep. justice system is designed against black people. That's what it.
And then also you got to look at, I believe, if you can't speak English, you can't be on the jury. And depending where you're at, there's different rules. There's so many rules that don't allow our people to be able to decide, like, hey, this is get in those rooms and say, this is wrong. We should convict this person. We shouldn't bring these indictments. They should be guilty. So, I mean, we got to start there. Maybe change some of the rules that allow you to serve on the jury.
Okay. All right, Jason, Lonnie, y'all want to weigh in on that?
I'll let her go, and then I'll go. Sorry.
It's similar, but a little different direction. I think it needs to be a little more difficult for people to become police officers. It shouldn't be so. I'm not saying that it's easy, but we should have a process to anybody who has any sort of racial profile or anything that any complaints, they shouldn't be allowed to be police officers. They're supposed to uphold the law. They're supposed to protect us. And instead, I feel like their goal is out to arrest and just get their numbers up with contacts, when it should be them getting involved with the community, knowing, the people that live in that community, not just, middle-aged white men with a badge that were picked on in high school and just want to feel powerful. I feel like it should be a little more difficult to be a police officer.
All right, my turn.
Yeah, let's try to keep it like within 45 seconds.
I'm sorry?
Let's try to keep it within 45 seconds.
Yes, sir. Okay, first of all, I think police brutality is of all colors. If I do something on video, me as an American citizen, I know I'm going to be held accountable. Bottom line. When we do something as American citizens, we're convicted first. We got to prove our innocence. That's where bail comes in. So as a police officer, if you get caught doing something on video, you're already held at a higher standard. That's what makes you above us as citizens. So if you do something, I think you should be held accountable twice as much as we should as American citizens, because you took an oath to uphold the law that you're breaking on video. Like it's not like people ain't. No, this is on video.
If you turn your camera off, it's an automatic guilty.
And if you turn your camera off, then you got something to hide. Bottom line, there should be no investigation. The only investigation happens after you're convicted. That's where bail comes in. You got to fight your case as a convicted felon. You got to fight your case after, no matter if you did it or not. If they got a witness, which we got a video camera now, if they got a witness, okay, you get arrested. You do 10 to 15 days in jail. They post your bond, okay? There ain't no cops. They should be held at a higher standard. Bottom line, held at a higher standard. They took an oath. They should be held at a higher standard. And if they do something wrong to break the law that they took an oath to hold, they should be held at that same standard when they get caught. And if they do, that's 20 years. If I get 10, you get 20.
Okay. All right. Let's let
Sorry. Go ahead.
let's hear what Jesse has to say.
Boy, it's been a minute. I gotta say, can we agree there's good and bad in the police force?
Yeah.
There's good and bad in citizens also.
And with that being said, some of the police, they don't know the neighborhoods. They don't come from the neighborhoods. They live an hour away. They aren't in contact with the community as a whole. And back in the day, they used to walk the beat, know the neighborhood, know the people, and that's missing. And I know the numbers are down in cities like Reading, but a community policing needs to happen again. Maybe more of, hey, I don't know what happens financially, but more of a system where it's like, not only are you a cop in uniform, but be a cop outside of uniform too. Like, NFL players, they donate some of their time to certain causes. Bring them back. Let them get in touch with the community. Let them learn the community more. As far as justice and everything, unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand the justice system. Like, I know they want a first-degree murder for this officer. I can't even call him an officer, but it's what the jury can prove. And sometimes those lower statuses cast a bigger net to allow you a greater success. Now, what happens is the sentencing guidelines that go with those don't make you feel like you got the justice that you wanted.
That's right.
When it comes to voting, so many people will say, I voted, and they're voting for the president. But this starts at the level of the Butler's parents. They know it starts at grassroots, municipal level, then to state level, and so on and so forth. The ascension comes from up within like that. If you can't get these people in that you want at that level, good luck everywhere else. And as Scotty was talking about, Mike Muse was talking about it. You have to have the police chief, the district attorney, they all have to be on the same page. That's why it was as quick as they could do what they did in Minnesota, because they all were on the same page. There was none of this, well, come on, it was just this, that, or the third. I mean, this murderer, this accused murderer, because he hasn't been found guilty yet, how many times has he discharged his weapon? And you have cops that go their whole career without discharging their weapon even once? This guy's a real maverick out there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we'll just have to wait to see what the justice system does. But again, it's got to start at grassroots level. You can't attack it from the top. You want to destroy any structure, you got to take it from the bottom and let it crumble. So that's where I am with that.
All right, thank you. All right, the last question is, how do we keep this change in place? Like going forward with the future, how do we keep that change in place? Wesley, Scotty, take it away.
Well, again, we keep that change in place by holding people accountable. Whenever, I hope nothing like this ever happens again, but that's not what the current pattern shows. This shows that it happens, seems to me, at least once a month. And I started paying attention to this since Trayvon Martin for us, which was how long ago? But anyways, you keep looking at what your attorney general, what your DA is doing. And if you see, why did the DA say, no, we're not gonna go after these charges. We're gonna let this go. You call them, you show up to their office, you demand some answers. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to my people? Why aren't you taking this seriously enough? And you continue to organize and gather protests and make sure people know you care about this stuff. I think throughout all these protests, people are starting to understand, they're starting to get the message that people actually do care, that we're not just sitting at home talking about it with families. This isn't just something that we talk about in our pastime. This is stuff that people are really fed up with.
I would say, yes, accountability, but also consistency. We need to be consistent in our voting. So not just voting in the primary, showing up in November, consistent with holding our politicians accountable. Also, consistent when not supporting businesses like the NFL, who don't let their players speak up, but now they are. We need to realize who's being fake and who's not. It's all about consistency. And also, the trial for George Floyd won't be soon. So we need to keep protesting and keep speaking up. We can't just let all the tension die down and they forget about us. No, we need to keep being consistent and speak up.
All right. Okay, Jesse, how about you?
Repeat the question one more time so I can really nail this and close this out strong.
Yeah, how do we
How to
keep
keep it going?
the change, in place? Keep it going.
The youngsters nailed it on the head. You got to be consistent with it. You can't let it disappear like, okay, you can't be a fish, that's attracted to a shiny object, You gotta stay on this. You gotta stay latched on like a pit bull. You can't walk away now. You're in it now. We're all in it now. We're all now fully aware of it, Before, I don't know why they couldn't see the way we saw, but I guess, this was the instant where you witness, like, wow, he just casually has his hand in his pocket and he's doing it, and that touched people to a point that they're incensed, they're upset, and they need to remember that every time that they go about their daily lives. They need to remember that when, they're quick to, from that self-conscious, the racist things they used to say, going, wait a minute, I can't think like that. It's one of these things where you got to constantly check yourself and correct yourself and say, hey, what is it I got to do to be better? What is I got to do to invoke change? Some of those parents that used to be like, oh, I don't want you playing with this kid or that kid, for whatever reason, all this stuff has got to stop. And if you can't let it stop, it's going to continue to go. And each one has to teach one, and hopefully somewhere down the line it breaks up and falls apart. But it's not unless it's a constant everyday effort. And that's not just with the people out there that are non-colored. We have color. Listen, we have people of color. We got homework to do. We can't just put it all in the basket of white people and stuff and say, hey, you got to make this right. We got to do right by each other, too. We can't sit there doing that dumb stuff to make them point the finger at us. We got to rise above that. And if we can rise above that and let it be known, like, hey, look, we respect us, you should respect us, it'll be dealt as such. But we can't be inconsistent in how we treat each other either. So it's across the board. It's not just a black thing, it's not a white thing. It's across the board, and other races, the Latinos to the blacks, Latinos, the Asians, all that kind of stuff. We all got to recognize we're in this damn thing together. So that's where I feel on that.
Great. Thank you. Lonnie, Jason, take it away. How do we keep change?
I just have something small to add to it, because I think everything that everyone is saying is absolutely on point. I think probably being the only all-white person here would be that we just need to listen to our Black community, our friends, our family, anybody that has a problem. We need to not be so vocal at times. And I'm not saying that is not helpful, because I do believe that we need to be vocal, but we also need to listen. We need to listen to the Scotts and Wesleys of today who are going to run the country, and give us the tools to know how to make the change and keep it that way.
That and Trent, can I have the question one more time? I'm sorry.
How do we keep the change? How do you keep the change going?
First of all, I think what we're doing right now as a country is perfect. I think all 50 states, whether you're white, black, Asian, Italian, every nationality, every religion, I think I'm going to break down again. Sorry.
No problem.
This shit hurts. Listen, as a human being, seeing people go through what humans should not go through is ridiculous. How do we keep the change? We keep protesting. We keep going at this. We keep doing this. You know what I mean? If Congress would have a 4-year term the way the president does, I guarantee you shit would change. Bottom line, you gotta have 4 years. You gotta have 4 years to be a president, okay? A president, the leader of the free world. If you're the president of the free world, you need to have honor. You need to have respect. You need to have self-honor. listen, it's a video. I apologize, but I'm sorry. But I'm so sick of this shit. I love all you.
Love you.
We love you back, man.
Everybody.
I agree with your statement. I just want to say I saw a statistic that is crazy, that Michael Vick served more time in jail for killing the dog than all the cops
You're damn right.
killed the last.
You are damn right.
The unarmed black man.
You are damn right.
That statistic is just
Insane. You're damn right. And I think that is insane because he was black and he killed the dog. Bottom line.
All right.
But the Eagles signed him. I'm sorry.
No. I
That
understand.
was all right. Shut up.
Yeah, we don't have one of those things to play the music when your time is up.
I'm sorry.
All right. Jesse, did you want to say anything else?
No, I mean, I said it. We got to check ourselves as people of color. If I sum up all my points, there has to be an admission that we have been oppressed, that the system has been, jaded against us, that there are casualties of the way this system has been set up that will never be able to be a juror or never be able to vote or do these things to affect change. You have all these things that have gone down where people, whether it was hard luck or whatever, may have put themselves in the situation. They can't get jobs, they can't do this, they can't do that. And then we're held at the same standard as those that didn't have to deal with what we had to deal with. That's unfair, and it's something that has to be addressed, and hopefully moving forward we can correct that. But we start with the youth, we start with letting them know, have pride in yourself, have respect for yourself, love one another, understanding that what one officer did doesn't affect every officer. Just like what one black person doesn't affect every black person. With that kind of thing, and we got to look at each other like that. And it all goes back to that simple book, Everything You Need to Know. You learn, like, what was it, in kindergarten, first grade, treat people the way you want to be treated, say thank you, say these kind of things go a long way in not just how you handle yourself, but what people think about you. And, moving forward, just, we just got to do better as a society, and we can. Now we're recognizing it, and now that we're admitting it, and we just got to move forward from here. And like I said, we got to do our homework. We got to constantly check ourselves to make ourselves better on a constant basis. Wes, he's a basketball player, and his brother. He didn't just, even if you scored, a triple-double, you still went to practice to make yourself better. Just because you did the right thing that day doesn't mean that you can't be a better person tomorrow. So dig in, put your boots on. It's a long ride, but you can make it happen. We could all make it happen. And when it's all said and done, treat others the way you want to be treated. It's that damn simple. It is just that darn simple. And from there, hopefully it could be a better America for our future, for our grandkids, our great-grandkids, and so on and so forth. So that's where I am on this whole thing, man.
All right. Thank you so much. We want to thank all of you for joining us today, and putting up with the
Technical
delay
difficulties.
Yeah, the spotty internet that we have going on over here. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to express how you feel and what you think needs to happen in this country.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Real quick. It'll take 5 seconds.
Sure it will.
I want to thank Scotty and Wesley for
I'll
that.
mute him if it takes longer.
Nah, not at all. Hey, listen. Jesse, Scotty, and Wesley, I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you too, bro.
And no, Scotty and Wesley, I hope your future holds everything that you dreamed of, bro. Like, seriously. And I hope nobody stops that. I really do.
Hey, we'd like to thank you all for joining us today, along with our guests, Scotty and Wesley Butler, Lonnie and Jason De Jesus Cruz, also Jesse Blanco. Thank you again for joining us. See you next time. Peace, y'all.
In the Spotlight with Trent and Lent.
In the Spotlight with Trent and Lent.
In the spotlight with Trent and Lent. In the spotlight with Trent and Lent. In the spotlight with Trent and Lent.